In 2019, Reliance's Nita Ambani stood in front of the country and made a bold promise. By the 2026 FIFA World Cup, India would finally be on the pitch. 7 years later, that 2026 deadline is here, and India is nowhere to be found. Instead of battling on the world's biggest stage, the national team is losing to Bangladesh, and our own players are recording videos practically begging for support. This chart shows a massive 5,000 crore rupee injection into Indian football, right alongside a plummeting line that represents the national team's FIFA ranking. You hear people blame the lack of money constantly, but the data tells a completely different story. If billions in corporate funding can't buy a win against a country with a fraction of our resources, then money clearly isn't the root of the problem. Most fans today have no idea that in the 1950s and 60s, India was the absolute powerhouse of the continent.
We were the first Asian team to make the semifinals at the 1956 Olympics. We played with such incredible skill that the actual Brazilian national team used to study our tactics. The crowning achievement came in 1962, when India won the Asian Games gold medal, right in the middle of a violently hostile stadium in Indonesia. The world literally called us the Brazil of Asia. To understand how a legacy that rich collapsed into the team we see today, we need to stop believing the 3 biggest lies told about the sport. Lie number 1 goes all the way back to 1950. The story goes that India missed the World Cup because the players didn't have proper boots, and FIFA banned them for playing barefoot. The administrative truth is far more frustrating. The All India Football Federation simply didn't want to spend the money to send the team all the way to Brazil. They decided the Olympics were a bigger priority. That single decision acted as patient zero for the crisis we see today. It established a dangerous pattern of choosing short-term convenience over securing a permanent place on the global stage. The original failure had nothing to do with a lack of footwear or athletic ability. It was a complete failure of administrative vision. The second lie you hear constantly is that the sport died simply because Indians only care about cricket. It is absolutely true that winning the 1983 Cricket World Cup monopolized the public consciousness and drew massive attention and funding. But the passion for football never actually died. You can find rabid, generational fandoms thriving in regional hotbeds like Kerala, Goa, and West Bengal. And on a national level, India still commands enormous viewership for international football, which became painfully obvious when we hosted the Under-17 World Cup and packed the stadiums. The fans simply didn't abandon the sport. The administrative system simply failed to capture and funnel that existing passion the way the cricket board managed to do, which brings us to the final, most pervasive modern lie. India just doesn't have the financial backing to build a globally competitive team. This diagram illustrates the 5,000 crore rupees spent on the sport today. Look at the very top tier. That represents Reliance pumping an enormous 4,500 crores specifically into the Indian Super League. On top of that, clubs pay another 777 crore in franchise fees just to participate, plus another 160 crore flowing in from title sponsorships. But this creates what economists call the missing middle. There is a severe lack of funding making its way down to grassroots pathways, youth scouting, and local coaching. We are left with a glittering corporate facade at the top that completely contrasts with the actual product domestic players are forced to navigate on the pitch. Spending billions to build a luxury financial penthouse is completely useless if you refuse to pay for a solid foundation first. Decades of that top-heavy spending and administrative blindness have resulted in a domestic talent pool that is currently deadlocked. To bypass this, the Indian Olympic Association is currently pushing an immediate administrative fix, known as the OCI or PIO sporting passport. This diagram outlines what's known as the Qatar model. It allows foreign-born players of Indian origin to bypass the strict 1955 Citizenship Act, letting them immediately suit up and play for the Blue Tigers. While this might provide a rapid injection of talent in the short term, it operates purely as a band-aid. It does absolutely nothing to cure the underlying rot in our domestic development.
A true sporting legacy cannot be purchased with corporate franchise fees, and it certainly cannot be secured through legal loopholes. The raw, organic talent and the rabid fandom are already sitting right there within the country, just waiting to be properly harnessed. The Brazil of Asia is still inside us, but it can only be resurrected when modern leadership finally matches the massive ambition of the fans and actually builds from the ground up. We have to stop relying on the ghosts of our past and start funding the youth of our future.